something hit me. I'm getting goosebumps right now thinking about it. And it made me cry. It's almost making me tear up right now thinking about it. This is what being awe-inspired looks like, guys. Hey fam, welcome back to the channel. Where the heck am I? Definitely in a little makeshift studio, not even a studio, makeshift corner of my hotel here in Baltimore, Maryland. I am still here. Anyways, hopefully the music in the back is not going to be too bothersome, but I'm really excited to talk to you folks this week because if you haven't noticed, and I know a lot of you did, we took a break last weekend over Memorial Day weekend. There was no new video last week Sunday. So we're opening the month of June, and I'm going to talk about something that kind of, to me, is the theme of summer, and that is rest and relaxation, right? So what we're going to talk about today are the 7 different types of rest that you can get for yourself. Let's jump in. If this is your first time to the channel, hey, my name is Shan Otare. I'm a breakthrough mindset coach, and I help you to reflect and accept your past so that you can reframe your future. Essentially, I birth badasses by teaching you how to become your authentic self. Today's topic, I'm going to be talking about something that I've been I don't want to say struggling with, but really craving for. And like I said in the opening, we're going to talk about rest because there's so many different types. And today I'm just going to talk specifically on 7 different types of rest. Now, it's a wonderful TED Talk that I recently got to watch. So I'll link that TED Talk below so that you folks can see that. It's by Dr. Sandra Dalton Smith. And she covers the 7 different types of rest that we all need. And we all need at different times. But if we're not aware of the type of rest that we need, then how do we even know to take it? Most of us really quantify rest with going to sleep at night, right? We try to get 6 to 8 hours, if not more, not too much though, right? Otherwise we wake up sore or we just feel groggy throughout the day, and we just figure that's the kind of a rest that we need. But what Dr. Dalton Smith really points out is that we need rest in many different facets. So let's jump into what those 7 types of rest are now. So the first type of rest is obviously physical rest. We do need our sleep. We need to have time where we are just kind of shutting down our bodies. But physical rest could also be active, where we are actually actively sleeping, or more passive, where it's something like yoga, right? It's a little bit of a workout, but it is physical rest where your body is not on, if that makes any kind of sense, right? Actively really trying to exert itself. What this really does is it really helps to encourage circulation and flexibility, which overall has a lot of health benefits. The second type of rest is mental rest. I know a lot of us say I need a mental health work day, I need a mental health work. What do they say? People say they need a mental health day. I keep on saying a mental health work day, but it's a mental health day where you just really need to be away from work or be away from your family or just kind of give yourself the space. That's really what mental rest is. All right, and the easiest way to kind of explain this mental rest is really that your brain needs a chance to just slow down. So the recommendation is that you take many short breaks, right, throughout the day, maybe a few minutes here and there, and not just 2 or 3 times, multiple times, maybe once an hour, you give yourself, a 3 to 5 minute break. And really the whole point of this is reminding yourself to slow down. I normally in my head say slow down, all right? However you need to say it to yourself, you say it that way, right? But I know for me, I say that to myself and I okay, Shan, time to do that, right? It's how you talk yourself. Your personal talk, your inside talk, the way you talk to yourself really also makes a difference, but that's another video for another day. Let's jump into tip number 3. Now, the third type of rest is sensory rest. We need rest from all these, you see my lighting right here? This is not a light lighting my face. This is my laptop. I have it on full blast because there's not much lighting here in this area where I can record here in the hotel. But your phone screens, your computer screens, your iPad, the TV, the video games, all these different things, they make your senses feel overwhelmed, where they are awake all the time, and this makes you feel more fatigued. And if you're laying down to go to sleep at night and the last thing you're looking at is this, this blue light on your phone, and it's in your face, and you're thinking, okay, I'm just gonna read a few articles or scroll through the socials and just kind of put myself to sleep that way. I understand how you might think that, but that sensory of just the light alone is keeping you up, folks. So you need some rest, some sensory rest from the light. Now, a simple way that you could do this, and you'll hear Dr. Dalton Smith talk about this in her TED Talk, is it could be as simple as this. Closing your eyes, just closing your eyes for a few seconds, even for a minute, multiple times in a day. Just that close, that turn off, that shut off of having access to all these things that are just raising our sensories is really the break that you can give yourself. So it's very simple, but the more frequently you do it, the better it is for your body, especially when it comes to the nighttime, when you really truly do want to go to sleep, but you're doing everything to battle that. So letting yourself know that sometimes you can have sensory overload, and taking a break from it is a really important thing. I try to make sure that I don't look at my phone in the last 2 hours of sleep. That's a goal I've had for a while. I'm not always perfect at it. Sometimes I'm talking to someone on text right up until I go to sleep, and I'm like, oh shoot, I didn't give myself the 2 hours. Another thing I do is in the first 2 hours that I wake up in the day, I don't look at my phone. So I wake up with a regular alarm, or I will, I'll do my breakfast, or I'll do my exercise. I'll do all those things without touching my phone, because again, it's just that conscious break that I'm giving myself from all these, sensory items. Besides all the emails, texts, and all those things that are garnering my attention, the sensory rest is really important. The fourth type of rest is really fun. Okay, the fourth type of rest is called creative rest, and this is really important for someone who regularly has to brainstorm or solve problems. Having creative rest is super, super important. I know for myself. There's a hotel worker. I know for myself, one of the things that has been really important in my life, in the jobs that I used to do, and even till now, is when I feel like I have a problem, I put myself in a space where no one else is bothering me. I have a little notepad, and I just kind of go through that. And I need to kind of have that space where I don't have any type of sensory around me that's going to stop me from thinking straight the way I really want to or need to, so that I can gather all my thoughts. Now, that is only the surface part of it, but what creative rest does is it awakens the awe that we have in ourselves. Try and think of one of the things that you've seen in your life that just in nature has blown you away, and it has to be something like kind of natural. Even architectural is fine, but like nature, like maybe you've seen the Grand Canyon. I know for me, I can say this over and over again, and it still happens till today. The very first time I went back to Tahiti, which is where my husband was born and raised, actually it wasn't the first time, it was like after our fourth or fifth trip, but we went to an outer island called Bora Bora, right? I'm sure you folks have heard of it. Beautiful, picturesque. And I'm like, okay, we're gonna go to Bora Bora, it's gonna be beautiful. Well, the airport is actually not on the main island. It's like a little atoll outside of the island, and every person who lands there, and then they gotta get on a boat to go to the main island or to go to wherever your resort is. So I get on this boat, and I'm in the front, and I'm just watching. We're taking the boat there, and something hit me. I'm getting goosebumps right now thinking about it. And it made me cry. It's almost making me tear up right now thinking about it. This is what being awe-inspired looks like, guys. All right, it just gave me this feeling like I've never seen anything this beautiful before. The mountain, but for me, really it was the ocean. I've been surrounded by ocean my whole life. I live on the island in Hawaii, one of the most beautiful places on the earth. Then I get to Bora Bora, and we're going through this lagoon, going from the airport to the main island, and I'm seeing all these different shades of blues and greens that I feel like I'm seeing for the very first time in my life, and it actually musters tears in my chest, and I'm like crying. And my husband's like, why are you crying? Are you okay? I'm like, it's just so beautiful. I've never been awe-inspired like that. And what's crazy is every single time I've gone back since then, it has the same effect on me. That is what creative rest gives you. Getting away from all the things, going out in nature, looking at your favorite tree, going to something that really has you step back and be like, whoa, what that does is it opens up the creative parts of your mind that really allow you to problem solve your daily problems or your work problems or your relationship problems. It really just pulls you away and grounds you, really grounds you to the things that you need to be aware of in order to make the creative decisions that you need. So you need that kind of rest. And even though you're actively out in nature, it is a form of rest because you are allowing this part of nature to come in to your mind and to your surroundings and really have an effect on you in this similar way that I didn't expect, but that I experienced when we went to Bora Bora. Another cool thing for me about creative rest is just like kind of enjoying the arts, you know, in general. I love going to museums. As a kid, I thought it was so boring, but now when we travel, it's one of my favorite things to do. I just love appreciating art, and I see art in so many more forms than I would have. Whereas I would have seen graffiti before, now I see like a beautiful picture that happens to be graffiti, but it's just so beautifully done. Tattoos, songwriting, lyrics. I hear how songwriters are stringing certain words together that just makes the sentence so beautiful. And if you allow yourself, and this is what it is, it's the allowance of this creative spirit to come into you. When you allow that to come into you, it does give your mind, body, and soul the rest that it needs in order to regurgitate or to give back all that the creative juices that you're going to need to do the things that you need to problem solve and be creative in your life, whichever way it's required of you on the daily. So this is one of my favorite types of rest, and I actively pursue it every single day just because I kind of love the arts. So that's just a little Shan fact. But that's number 5, creative rest. Okay, this next rest is one that I have been consciously trying to take as I've been living here on the East Coast for the last couple of months, away from my family, my home, my husband, my kids, my dog, my routines, just everything. This is one that I've been really real with myself about, and it's emotional rest, right? Do you have one of those friends who just like, they're so dependable, you can always depend on them? And I'm kind of would be pointing to myself. I'm that friend to a lot of people who's just dependable, will drop anything that you need, kind of doesn't ever say no to anyone, and are just really great like that. But then they get home at the end of the day and they kind of like pull their hair out. They're just like, oh my God, I just did all these things for people and they love me and I feel good about doing it, but I have nothing left for myself. Like, I am drained. And that's where the 6th type of rest comes in, and that's emotional rest. Emotional rest is so, so important. And, you know, that's the human side of us. And one of the things that I thought was sweet and kind of funny was, you know, I've been talking with some friends back and forth via text back home, and just kind of sharing with them, you know, the ups and downs of what's going on with my mom here as we're waiting for her here at Johns Hopkins for her recovery. That has been, simplest way to say, a roller coaster. But sharing with them, you know, I miss my husband. It's not like I can just like, you know, get in a car and go see him at home. It really is it's difficult. And one of them wrote me a quick text, which I'm going to see if I can put up here. She was saying that she was having a hard day because she had a brother who just moved away and she's really sad about it. So she went to her phone and she put up a video of my husband doing something ridiculous or stupid or funny on a video, just so it made her laugh. Right? I was like, oh, he is such a good guy, right? And so then I was telling my other friend about it, and she was like, it's not like he can just get on the plane. She says, you know, he will bring light to everybody who's here. He would just make it lighter. That is the gift of my husband. He makes it light. And she says, you know, everybody needs a Kapena in their life. That's my husband's name, Kapena. And I used to really downplay that, but for all of our friends who know, like, he's kind of the funny guy, but he also really does lighten a load. He really does make light with his personality, and he's not trying, he just is. And I think that's actually the beautiful thing about it, that I rarely give him any type of credit for. And so I'll see if I can put that post up here where she was just saying, we all need a Kapena in our life. And it's so true. And, you know, when my mom got readmitted to the hospital for a 3rd time that we've been here now, I just about lost it. And I told my friend, I said, is it bad? Is it bad that I'm a little happy that she's going back in because I can have a break now, or my 2 siblings who are with me, that they can have a break too? Like, I feel bad, but I feel this huge sense of relief that we can breathe now. And she says, no, not bad, just human. And I'm like, yes, it's okay to feel that way, Shan. It's okay to say, you know what? I am exhausted. I am exhausted. I have good reason for being exhausted. And you know what? Even if I didn't have good reason, if I say I'm exhausted, right? But I have good reason to be exhausted. And it's okay to be human and say, you know what? I need this time. I need to go take a drive. I need to, whatever it is, right? And that is where emotional rest becomes very important. Another part of emotional rest is being able to differentiate relationship and social rest, where, you know, you have the relationships when you get together with these people. It's like, oh my God, I can't wait to be back with them. They really, you know, like they get me and I feel full of energy, versus, and I'm sure you folks all can identify these people, right? Versus the people who you hang out with and you leave just feeling drained, like, I just wasted an afternoon with these people. You know, it's been a long time since I've said that to myself, simply because I've chosen to create barriers around in my world for those kind of people, right? And you know, some of them could be friends or family, and it's not that I'm going to completely ignore them. I'm just going to limit my time, because exhaustion. I ain't trying to exhaust myself. So making sure you have the right emotional rest is also very, very important. And our second to last tip of the type of rest that you can get. Let's jump into our very last type of rest. Our last type of rest is spiritual rest. The spiritual rest is basically your ability to connect beyond the physical, you know, like a deep sense of love and being in a space, whether you call it God, whether you call it the universe, just something that's bigger to you, and being able to connect to that. That type of rest is really important. And it's not rest from it, it's rest doing it. Doing the act of having meditation, clearing your mind, connecting to whatever the higher power is for you, is a very, very important part of your spiritual rest. And like I said earlier, a really great way to do this is, you know, whether it's prayer, meditation, community involvement, there's a lot of different things that you can do. And it's really just kind of placing yourself in something that's bigger than you, where you are not the only, you're not like you're the main show, right? It requires you to give of yourself for others, or to give up of yourself and to be open to God or the universe, or, you know, however you believe it. That spiritual rest kind of takes the burden off. And that's really how a lot of people describe prayer, right? Or meditation, where you are unloading your emotions, you're unloading your feelings onto this being who you feel can take it. And that is a really important part of your routine that you definitely should not forget. Now, as you can see with this list, it's definitely more than just the sleepy type of rest that we all think that we need. That's great, but it is way more than that. Use these 7 types of rest to really hone in on the different parts where you might be in a deficit, right? Maybe you need more sensory rest. Maybe you need more spiritual rest. Maybe you need to really identify some of the more social markers that are helping you not have the emotional rest that you really need. I'm very happy that I have great friends that I've chosen to surround myself with that can remind me about this. I have an awesome husband who now I give the space to help me out. He's always tried to help me, but I've always blocked him for whatever reason, which was basically my ego. Now that I've dropped that, things are better for me and for him and our relationship. So allowing the people who are there to help you is a really, really important part of this rest. I look forward to getting more rest as this trip hopefully comes to an end very soon, and I can be home back in the studio talking with you folks about all the different things that I want to share with you. And so for now, I just really thank you folks for continuing to follow the journey and to really not only support me, but come here to learn as well. As much as you want to learn, I want to teach. I love doing this stuff. So if you haven't yet, make sure you hit that subscribe button and hit the notification so that you can get back on track on when we're getting a video every single Sunday. I will see you folks on the other side, and until then guys, you keep evolving. Bye.